guys, listen, I'm getting validation on social media. From the likes of Dan Ives, Jim Cramer, who is not a good indicator, but when you have Dan Ives and Jim Cramer agreeing, basically saying everything I was saying in the morning show, we're talking about $926 billion company. Dan Ives is like, this is a $1.5 billion company. Automation is going to be fast-tracked in terms of federal regulations and stuff. Take a look at this. I'm looking at, let's pull back to the weekly chart. If you go to the daily, you're like, oh, it's so scary. You got a gap here. Oh my God. Right. Okay. Well, you can look, first of all, even on the daily, we're so close to that 299. It's going to test it soon. And then right after that, this is the magnet right there at 314.67. So your target's 300 to 314, 300 to 315, let's call it. But if you don't want to be scared of the gap, pull up a weekly chart, okay? When you put up a weekly chart, just look at this and think about how important this catalyst is. This is an inflection catalyst. This means this is a catalyst when 5 years from now, you look back at the stock and you look at the chart, you can identify a point in time, right? How important is it that Trump is elected and Elon Musk is at his side and basically put him in office, right? How important is that to the company? Obviously, it's hugely important. How big should that candle be? How big should that inflection be when you look back in this chart in time from the future, right? And when you look at the weekly chart, hey, we haven't even gotten started. This 15% move is nothing. It's a blip. You haven't even missed it yet. So when can we see this like really peak out? Or I don't want to say peak out, but when is this thing going to capitulate to the upside, at least temporarily? Guess when that's going to be? I think it's pretty clear. January 20th. There's going to be a lot of hype building into that. Most of the run's probably going to happen well before that. November, December. Maybe you see this thing have that capitulation high, towards Inauguration Day, right after Inauguration. Everything's going to be baked in by then. So again, look at these weekly candles. How big should these weekly candles be to represent this monumental thing that's really going to impact fundamentals for Tesla? I mean, look, this 299 to 315, that's like very short term. That could be tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow or Friday or Monday, might very well be tomorrow, 300 to 315. If you want to talk about a game-changing inflection for the company, you got to think this thing has got to be maybe somewhere between 380 and the all-time high by Inauguration Day, all right? Or at least 360 to 415 by Inauguration Day. That's my target. This is the opportunity. That's the analysis. ASTS is something we started picking up yesterday. I'm going to make this a top pick. Don't know yet if it's going to be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll see. But ASTS, when you have this is just a whole bunch of pillars coming together. What's a pillar? It's story trading. We have catalyst, sentiment, fundamentals, and technicals, right? We have a lot of things converging on ASTS today specifically, which I think makes this a good one. This sell-off here was because of the Trump win, because people thinking, all right, that benefits Starlink, and that's not going to be good for the competitor ASTS. Now that we're getting this correction in the Trump names, now the names that were hurt because of the Trump trades can come back. All right. So that's like money flow sentiment kind of reversing with earnings Thursday afternoon. We talked about the fundamentals. I believe it wasn't on the public show. It was in our Discord yesterday. So I'm looking for continuation after this open green candle yesterday. RSI still oversold here on the daily. So let's see. There's I don't know how far we can get today, but I think before the earnings report, there's a chance we get to like 27, maybe even up to 29. Before Thursday afternoon. That's in the cards. ASTS, definitely a top pick today with this kind of Trump trade reversal, a little bit of reversion to the mean going to be happening today, it looks like. I ended up swinging in the entire call position I got in multiple accounts. You see we're up here, up 6%. Sometimes you got to know when to swing something on one of our top picks. So I did swing. We got ASTS still, I think even with a gap here of 7%, I'm still looking for a move to 27 to 29 before 4 earnings tomorrow afternoon. Tesla, we were spot on with Tesla 2 days in a row. I'm going to go, man. I'm going to say 3 days in a row. Today's the day we break 300. I feel like this can be what Amazon was for us the other day, where we said the 200 wall is going to go on Amazon. And then if we break 200, we rapidly go to at least 205. By the way, why was that the case? Because we knew Jeff Bezos was selling there at 200 for a long time. So once you take him out, there's no more supply left, right? That's why it would jump very fast after that. Okay. Tesla's a little bit different story. We don't know if a strong seller at 300, but it's a big psychological level on the chart. Okay. And it's a big also, not just psychological, technical level too. It's right here, 299.29. All right. You break two and look at that. That's so beautiful. It used to be resistance back here too, around 300. Okay. So you break 300. Where's the next resistance? Right here at around 313, 315. All right. We gave this to you a couple days ago. It's playing out exactly so far as we said. Why not? Third time's a charm. Third time's a charm means you got it wrong the first 2 times. Nope. Trend is your friend, I guess. Story trading's on fire. So I think we can break 300 today and maybe quickly make a move towards 313. Maybe today, maybe to Monday. I don't know. It sounds crazy, but that's going to be in the cards. Guys, listen, I'm getting validation on social media. From the likes of Dan Ives, Jim Cramer, who is not a good indicator, but when you have Dan Ives and Jim Cramer agreeing, basically saying everything I was saying in the morning show, we're talking about $926 billion company. Dan Ives is like, this is a $1.5 billion company. Automation is going to be fast-tracked. In terms of federal regulations and stuff. Take a look at this. I'm looking at, let's pull back to the weekly chart. If you go to the daily, you're like, oh, it's so scary. You got a gap here. Oh my God. Right. Okay. Well, you can look, first of all, even on the daily, we're so close to that 299. It's going to test it soon. And then right after that, this is the magnet right there at 314.67. So your target's 300 to 314, 300 to 315, let's call it. But if you don't want to be scared of the gap, pull up a weekly chart, okay? When you put up a weekly chart, just look at this and think about how important this catalyst is. This is an inflection catalyst. This means this is a catalyst when 5 years from now, you look back at the stock and you look at the chart, you can identify a point in time, right? How important is it that Trump is elected and Elon Musk is at his side and basically put him in office, right? How important is that to the company? Obviously, it's hugely important. How big should that candle be? How big should that inflection be when you look back in this chart in time from the future, right? And when you look at the weekly chart, hey, we haven't even gotten started. This 15% move is nothing. It's a blip. You haven't even missed it yet. So when can we see this like really peak out? Or I don't want to say peak out, but when is this thing going to capitulate to the upside, at least temporarily? Guess when that's going to be? I think it's pretty clear. January 20th. There's going to be a lot of hype building into that. Most of the run's probably going to happen well before that. November, December. Maybe you see this thing have that capitulation high, towards Inauguration Day, right after Inauguration. Everything's going to be baked in by then. So again, look at these weekly candles. How big should these weekly candles be to represent this monumental thing that's really going to impact fundamentals for Tesla? I mean, look, this 299 to 315, that's like very short term. That could be tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow or Friday or Monday, might very well be tomorrow, 300 to 315. If you want to talk about a game-changing inflection for the company, you got to think this thing has got to be maybe somewhere between 380 and the all-time high by Inauguration Day. All right, or at least 360 to 415 by Inauguration Day. That's my target. This is the opportunity. That's the analysis. Amazon, okay, Elon, I mean, Jeff Bezos has been selling everything he could at $200. We got some call options overnight, $200 strike for this week. And my thinking was on a Trump victory, we can break 200 because, and I don't know if I mentioned this on the show yesterday or on our Discord. I think it was on the show. Jeff Bezos did something pretty, it took some guts. He went against everybody in his organization to prevent the Washington Post from endorsing Kamala Harris. Okay, that happened last week. And there was like a mutiny at the Washington Post, and people were really pissed at him. So he took a stand, and I'm sure Donald Trump took note of that. The question is that the market take note of that enough to say Amazon's a Trump stock, just like Tesla will benefit because of his support for Trump. Will Amazon benefit because of what Jeff Bezos did for Trump in the past week? That was the thesis for why we got some Amazon calls yesterday, and it's really underperforming today, up 0.45%. If we look at the QQQ and SPY, up 2%. Look, I got to throw Amazon in the top 5. I got to say, now we have all the ingredients finally. We don't know. It's a black hole. We don't know for sure how many shares is Jeff Bezos selling at 200. So it's definitely risky to do this. But if there's ever going to be a day where there's enough buy volume to overcome a big seller, I would say maybe today's that day. So let's throw Amazon in the top 5 for a break of 200 for a second. But it's not just about the supply. It's also about the demand. So even if you want to imagine whatever the max quantity is that you think Jeff Bezos is selling out there, if there's any day where the demand can overtake the supply, today's a good day to do that. All right. That's basically what I'm saying. And has already sold many shares. It's not like he just started. He's been selling for a long time. So I would guess is closer to the end than the beginning. But again, it's a black hole what the supply is, but also today the demand is going to be crazy. Let's take out that $200 Jeff Bezos wall today. PS. All right, we have RCAT, which has worked out pretty good. I did make this an official pick after earnings last week. It's having a good morning this morning. This has explosive upside. Let's see, the next target I put on RCAT. Let me just go to the 4-pillar pick room over here. Okay, so RCAT, what did I put here? 290. Okay, so 290 is a level I think it can reach without news. Okay, that's some candle resistance that I identified last week. We got 265 first, and then 292. Yep. So like 265 to 292, that area looks like you can get there without news. And then we put a target of potentially 775 upon positive news, which talking about end of September if that positive news comes. So 775. But nice movement over the weekend towards our price targets on RCAT. Let's look at Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin 61,000. It's trying to break out. Look at these higher lows the last few days. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. You get higher lows, and it's bumping up against this 50 DMA. Something may be brewing with Bitcoin. Keep an eye on Bitcoin today and this weekend for a possible break of the 50 DMA and a move towards the 200 DMA at 63,000. And of course, if that happens, that can help cores. But this chart's looking good. I'm going to throw Bitcoin to the top of the top list. Let's see, how do we do that? Go over here at top, and we'll throw that up there. That's a good looking chart. Something's brewing. Can Jackson Hole be the trigger? If although what is moving Bitcoin lately, because it hasn't really been moving with IWM, hasn't really been moving up. It didn't get that V-shaped recovery like all the other indices did after that mini Black Monday scare. So I'm not sure, but that chart looks good to me, and it's trying to break out Bitcoin. PS. All right, we have RCAT, which has worked out pretty good. I did make this an official pick after earnings last week. It's having a good morning this morning. This has explosive upside. Let's see, the next target I put on RCAT. Let me just go to the 4-pillar pick room over here. Okay, so RCAT, what did I put here? 290. Okay, so 290 is a level I think it can reach without news. Okay, that's some candle resistance that I identified last week. We got 265 first, and then 292. Yep. So like me at 265 to 292, that area looks like you can get there without news. And then we put a target of potentially 775 upon positive news, which talking about end of September if that positive news comes. So 775, but nice movement over the weekend towards our price targets on RCAT. Good morning, guys. It's Friday, November 15th. Yesterday, what a day yesterday. So much action in some of our largest picks. All right, we're going to be covering Tesla. We'll talk a little bit about Amazon, but Tesla, ASTS, HIMS, TSSI down 32%. We'll talk about that. RCAT up 14%. These are some of the largest picks, the ones we focus on a lot in our community. Lots of volatility, lots of opportunities. Still, we're going to talk about that, explain all of the price action, and talk about what might come next. But first, a look at the macro. It looks like we are now in correction mode here. Look at QQQ. You got to worry about, well, did we get to this gap fill up here? Let's see where that is. 506.41. We're below that level. So now you got to worry about this level right here, which by the time it gets there, maybe it might coincide with 20 DMA. SPY looks very similar. So SPY and QQQ basically mirroring each other with those levels to look at. And IWM, below this level right here, very important, 232, could make it back to that 227 breakout or so, 228 breakout or so. Look, I think I'm starting to see in the market what I warned about before Trump won the election. With people are now taking them seriously in terms of austerity, government cutting costs, the Department of Government Efficiency, RFK Jr. now coming in. Look what happened to biotechs here because of RFK Jr. I think that move started the day before when Matt Gaetz was nominated for Attorney General. People are like, oh, well, Trump's actually going to do what he said. Like, no, duh. Like, I kind of knew he would do what he said. He always does. So RFK Jr. coming in the next day, you see what's happening with biotechs. By the way, I think this is the primary reason why VKTX has been weak. Okay, big pharma might be worth less. What happens if they come in and try to slash spending in Medicare and Medicaid? I don't know how this is all going to play out with the Department of Government Efficiency and with RFK Jr. with Health and Human Services. It's going to be it's part of that waste basically going to the profit of these big pharma companies. And I think that's why you see XBI and VKTX going down. So, what I warned about before the election starting to come to fruition, I think at least sentiment wise, that's what's on people's minds causing this short-term, I think, hopefully this pullback in the near term. And, that makes trading more challenging. This is not a time to be a hero. This is not a time to jump into every pullback with call options. Okay. I'm going to be taking it easier in my trading account. Although actually in my trading accounts were okay yesterday. They held up pretty good because I did some nifty moves we'll talk about. But my long-term account took a hit. My long-term account took a nice hit. We'll talk about why in a second. I don't think there's any ERs that were on our watch list for this morning. So let's head on over to our top list. Wow, just a lot to talk about. First of all, Tesla, we caught this move right off the bat calling for a 360 initial target, hit 360 to 365 in after hours, but 358.64 the high in the regular session. And not only that, we're calling for new all-time highs. Now, what happened here the last few days? Trump coming in and really doing, again, kind of what was expected, saying he's not going to do that EV credit, $7,500 EV credit. People who understand the politics of this knew that that was going to happen. Okay. This is not really a surprise. And I don't think any of the bulls, including Dan Ives, and there's some other commentary out there saying this was kind of expected, and it doesn't change our thinking. It doesn't change my thinking in terms of new all-time highs, because guess what? Full self-drive, FSD, when that happens, the benefit of that is going to way overcome. We're talking about like 95% profit margins. I don't know what they're going to charge, $100 a month, maybe more. I'm not sure. But, getting that approved from a regulatory perspective is going to be a boon for Tesla, not to mention all the other projects and the robo-taxi and things like that. So I still have the same view. Market, there was some disbelief that Trump is going to be Trump for some reason. But that's what's happening. Trump's going to be Trump. XBI going down. This move with EV credits happening. Not surprising. So I'm not actually changing my long-term targets, but this is not a time to be a hero on stocks like Tesla or the major indices in terms of day trading and buying the dips and looking for things like that. You got to be selective and look for strong stocks with really good catalysts if you want to do short-term trading. Now, in our community over at our Discord, let's throw that Discord link up there. Rhett, if you can do that for me. Good morning, Rhett, by the way. Okay, so in our community, yep, good morning. We arm our audience with lots of information. We have different channels, and we discuss long-term ideas, swing ideas, day trading ideas. Even yesterday, we started a wheel strategy for income generation. So there's lots of information that's shared, and not necessarily do you need to act on all of that every single day in terms of rapid day trading. I only day trade with like 5% of my account value. Like 95% is in long-term accounts. So I wouldn't go trying to say, find the dips right now in like names like Tesla and Amazon. Amazon, some news out. Jeff Bezos, the filing came out that he sold all his shares. No, kind of too late to act on that, right? We were able to identify that. You saw the video if you were here earlier. We predicted and we said, hey, that's actually happening in real time. The day after the election, we said, we're going to break through 200. We're going to break through the Bezos wall. And that's exactly what happened. So this is why you're not seeing the price action going up on that, in case you were wondering why. It's already happened. All right. Everyone knew that was happening. We predicted it with great accuracy, what would happen with Amazon, not only breaking the 200, but the target that day. I think we had a 205 target, hit like 207. So that was an incredible gain for our community. That's these other top picks in our community. ASTS had earnings last night. We called this run up, this green candle. We did not hold any trading shares into earnings. I don't think, I did, but I advise not to. But I sold all the call options. We made a ton of money on the call options here in this open green candle. We sold it above $30. The stock now $23.79. We did not carry any call options into the earnings report. I did carry some common shares in that I quickly sold in after hours, not because I don't think it was a good buy. I think it was last night, but because I needed that money for RCAT. We'll talk about RCAT in just a second. Okay, so in any case, I think this dip in ASTS, I looked at the earning conference call transcript, compared it to the last conference call transcript. It's a little bit more muted in some ways, a little, I would say like the analyst questions were a little bit more skeptical, a little worried about some small delays, a little bit worried about budget, what's happening with the budget. So the sentiment seems a little bit underwhelming. Now, after the last earnings report, the stock also did pretty much nothing. Now it's down 11%, but it did nothing. It was actually down initially, then it was flat. And then look at the next candle, starting 9:30 a.m. after the earnings report, AST just exploded, okay? Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. What I will tell you with ASTS, this is a good entry for a long-term buy. I already have it as a core position for the long term. Down 11%, I think is a great entry for a long-term buy. As far as a day trade for today, again, the market's been pretty skeptical lately. A lot of earnings reports getting sold off. Definitely more skepticism out there. And we showed you went through the sentiment from a macro perspective. So I'm not going to be a hero and say AST for a day trade. Pick it up at minus 10% here for a long term. Absolutely, 100%. Not for a day trade. All right, next. And it might explode, though. You pick it up, it's cheap, and you might get lucky, and you might get a 10% move. All right, but no, we got better things for today. All right, ready? All right, HIMS. Wow, this was crazy. On the show yesterday, we said we're going to wait for the 20 DMA. It bounced right off the 20 DMA, all right, yesterday afternoon. and it went up and it looked like a great trade and people were making money in our Discord community. Then Bank of America comes out, downgrades it with a big price target reduction, and then it was look out below, broke down below the 20 DMA, make its way close over there to the 50 DMA. So what we did yesterday with HIMS, pull up that wheel note, Rhett, that we just put up. We started a new program here, the wheel strategy. It's something I have a lot of experience with. I do a modified wheel. So we opened a new channel in our Discord. It's the modified wheel strategy, where we're selling cash secured puts for income with our little spin on it, trying to generate between 60 and 80% annualized returns, which I think is very possible to do with our trading strategy. So what we did yesterday with HIMS, as we saw it breaking down below the 20 DMA, I'm like, you know what? I'd pick up this stock at the 200 DMA at $17. So we identified a couple put options, 18 actually, 18 or 17. I think I mentioned the 18, but I was also personally looking at the 17. But $18 put options for about $1 gives you an annualized yield of 70%. A few minutes later, the 17s gave you $1 for an annualized yield of 70%, which less likely to get filled. So that's beautiful. We started that program yesterday in our Discord community. I opened an account just to do this personally. I'll start trading with that today. Today will be my first day placing. I would have done it yesterday. I wanted to get the HIMS ones, but the account was not ready completely. Now it's ready today. So I'll be doing that. We'll see. You know, once in a while, we'll put out trade alerts on it. Not crazy amount, because we're not actively trading these. We're waiting for these not to expire. We'll see with my modified wheel strategy. It's not a lot of work. You could do this part-time, make a great amount of money. So that's what we decided to do with HIMS. We said, we're not buying the dip. I'm not selling it either. I'm holding my position. As it turns out, I did in the morning sell some HIMS a little bit because I needed money for something else that was pretty good. It was ECOR. Here we go. And ECOR had a great day. So that rotation ended up being good. In any case, by the way, if you're not following S Mantle, SMANTEL, we got to make a banner for him on these shows here. But S Mantle, analyst in our community, has been excellent. Gave us some great feedback on ECOR earnings. So I followed him on that dip, rotate a little bit of HIMS into ECOR. Make sure to follow S Mantle. And if you want to get his content, upgrade to our Discord through his profile.
And you can see it in the banner right below there.
Oh, great. All right. So that was awesome on ECOR. So let's see what's next on our list. I went through everything and I don't have a day trade for you yet. All right, but I will. Okay. TSSI, my largest position. Now this was crazy. Okay. Made a ton of money on this. I mostly bought here at $2.73, $4, and I didn't really add that much more going up. Held it the whole entire way. Man, we were on cloud 9 when this thing was $13 before the earnings report. My original plan was to sell the day before earnings, but I got suckered into this hype, and I said, you know what? I only sold 5% yesterday. Got suckered into this hype. There was a Barron's article yesterday saying BI. So in any case, look, we did not get what we wanted. I didn't get what I wanted in order to justify the stock staying in the 10 to 12 range. All right, we got 10 cents EPS. I was looking for 15 to maintain to sustain the move. I sold as much as I could above 10 yesterday until Fidelity started blocking me, and I have a lot of shares, so it was not fun, not easy. But I managed to sell about 50 to 60% of my shares above 10 really quickly up there. We're talking about 50,000 shares, so it was not fun. And then Fidelity blocked me because they're like, you're selling too many shares, they're moving the market. So I still have like 40% of my position. I'm not a seller down here anymore. Okay. TSSI, based on the earnings, based on the guidance they gave, I believe is now worth $7 to $10. That's the range it should trade in. All right. I think the fair value, if you want to go there from a fundamental perspective, probably around $8 where it's trading now. Okay. You have 20 DMA support at $8. You have 50 DMA support at $6.90, which it could capitulate to. Okay, in the morning, we could see the spike down to $6.90. If it goes below $6.90, I think it quickly gets bought back up. Now, if you're one of these like value investors and you buy within a range and do the risk reward thing, then, you know, I don't think you sell in low sevens because that's near the bottom of the range. I think this thing is going to trade in a range from $7 to $10 until the next earnings report, or until some major catalyst if they have something before earnings. So TSSI is now a $7 to $10 stock. It's closer to the bottom. So I wouldn't necessarily panic sell over here if it's a $7 to $10 stock. But for us, it's not that compelling anymore as an idea, because I look for stocks that can multi-bag within a few weeks or a couple months. Okay, so I'm not going to sell I'm not going to panic sell what I have left. As I said, I sold about 60% above 10. My remaining shares, I'll be opportunistic about it. I think there's a very good chance this does capitulate down to 690. Don't get scared there. That's actually a good spot to buy, or simply not get scared. And you could sell at better spots, 8, 9, and maybe even 10 over the next few weeks or months if there's some positive catalyst or news that comes out. So 7 to 10, the new range for TSSI, but we've officially removed that. TSSI, no longer a 4-pillar pick, just doesn't have the elements to fit what we do at story trading. 7 to 10, your new range. When you have a delta of information, you get a delta in price, and you got to be willing to change your mind quickly, and that's what we did. Okay, well, what else did we do? So still no trade idea for you today. We're 15 minutes into the show. What else did we do last night, though? RCAT, a core holding of ours. RCAT, a important core holding of ours, waiting for some big news. Well, guess what I did with all that cash from selling TSSI? Look at this thing. It was closed at $4. It's currently $4.60. Went all the way to $5.50 yesterday. Okay. They did a shelf offering last night, which usually would cause the stock to go down. Okay. But the stock went up. Not only did they do the shelf offering, but they had a press release that they're going to have an event on Tuesday with the press there, with the media there. Now, I'm not going to tell you all the details about why that's positive. That's for our Discord, okay? And we will be trading this, but I'll tell you, we were buying this in our Discord heavily. A lot of this move had to do with people in our community buying it, but not just our community. You can tell this was not all us, all right? But I was buying heavily. Other people in our community were buying heavily on the news of an offering. Isn't that interesting, right? Okay, why did we do that? 459 to 468. We've had an open trade card on this for a long time with a target of 775 right there. Okay, that's still our target. I think it can still happen. And this is going to be our top focus over the next few days. In fact, I'm going to throw it at the top of the list. I think this can still be traded today. 468 by 474. I'm not sure the path it takes today, but I'll tell you this. I think the dips will be bought. If there are dips in this, this is where my focus is going to be as far as day trading. I also have swing position. I have a long-term position. We might even do some swing call options on RCAT today. We think that there's going to be more, or there's going to be positive news. Let's just say that in the next few days on RCAT. All right. That's your first pick that's actionable for today. All right. What else do we have going on? Yesterday, by the way, was a little bit challenging with our picks, but two out of our top 4 or 5 worked out. One was IMRX. Okay, IMRX here. We gave you a first target at the 50 DMA of 215, a secondary target at the 200 DMA at 240. Didn't got to the first moving average. This is still a swing trade. I firmly believe we're hitting 240 or higher. Okay, before the data comes out. All right, so IMRX thrown at the top. Won't necessarily work today. Looks like maybe it's going to pull back a little bit. I'm not sure, but this is a swing. So I'm going to hold this for the move to at least 240. Okay, that's IMRX. CAPR, thank you, S. Mantle, for a great idea. CAPR, we had a target yesterday for you of the 20 DMA at 1976. Almost got there. Very close. High 1950. I did have call options into that, and I sold them for like a 40-50% gain. Thank you, S. Mantle. That was all S. Mantle on CAPR. Relative strength here. So now I want to show you some stocks with relative strength that could do one market that's correcting. CAPR is one of them. RSI starting to trend up, not overbought yet. Maybe it can have some follow through today. I don't have great conviction in it, though, to make it a top 5, but just highlighting the relative strength there. Okay, GEO. Wow. Look at that. Look at the relative strength in GEO, especially compared to CXW. All right, these are the two immigration stocks. Okay, I have been making a move to get heavier into GEO than CXW. All right. Initially, GEO was my play, was my immigration play. I was in it after Trump won. We jumped in that and we played that. But then I switched to CXW because they had a much better earnings report. I did that for a few days until, again, Godfather comes to block. S. Mantle, Godfather, convinced me that GEO is the better play. So I started rotating out of CXW into GEO. Very interesting chart. Awesome relative strength. If you were with us the last couple of days, you know that we're looking for a repeat of 2006, where both of these stocks tripled within 3 months. All right. So I don't think the move is over. I'm going to throw GEO to the top. Just excellent relative strength today. We may have some follow through even in a bad market. Okay. That's GEO. Other stocks with some relative strength. Root. Okay. This is another one where I think you want to swing this. Again, day to day, I don't know. but that was a nice open green candle. We think this can imminently go over $100. So Root's another one where I think you can be more short-term minded about in terms of looking for a rapid re-rating. So I got some Root in my day trading account, some call options. I do swing a little bit in my day trading account. So Root, really impressive candle yesterday, and very, very, very undervalued after that earnings report with a huge short position. Got to throw Root up there into the top of the list. All right, there was one more. What happened? I lost my place. And then ECOR, excellent relative strength yesterday. I think I'm going to just say pick this up for the long term. We already had an awesome move yesterday, a V recovery. Analysts came out with an upgrade, I believe, this morning. This could be the next Zynex. So I like ECOR, but I don't know. It's just, can you do this 2 days in a row in a market that's correcting? I have my doubts, but I guess it's possible. So let's just call ECOR kind of like ASTS, right? It's like pick it up, make sure you have a position for a longer term time frame. If it does well today, great. But I don't know about a day trade today on that. That was a mouthful, Rhett. What's on your mind?
Sorry, Ben. I was just in the back end. I'm really liking RCAT today and Root, the two of them. Those are RCAT especially is going to be on the top of my list and watching it. I'm currently swinging some calls in it, and I've been rolling them over, waiting for an anticipation. So those will pay nicely today.
Calls in that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people on our Discord have call options in RCAT, and we actually I made a push for it after some good data. I forgot Fluffs. I think it's like Fluff in our Discord community did some Sliber sleuthing for us earlier this week, and then we're like, that's it, got to get back into RCAT calls. So 2 days ago, we're making a push for that. So RCAT, number one pick, great. All right, and you like Root as well. You know what? Like looking at this list, we don't have a lot of day trade ideas. We got Root and GEO look good. I would say it's RCAT number one. Okay, then I think it's the number one pick. Plus, you got these three that I'm leaning towards have a better chance of outperforming today. But I'm thinking of these as more swings. I'm thinking of Root, GEO, and IMRX as swings and not day trades. Okay. If they do great today, great. But I don't have any specific catalyst today on Root, GEO, or IMRX to say that, to predict that it's going to explode today. So Root, GEO, and IMRX, more swings. Okay. ASTS and ECOR, a little more longer term entries. And that's about it.
And then we have a few questions in the chat right now, Ben. I'll put them up here for you. Here's the first one.
We'll try. We got to get out of here in 3 minutes so we can open our Discord.
I think this is the only one. So.
Or live trading on Discord. DXYZ, it's mid-20s. I think it needs a little bit more room. DXYZ, there was some information out this morning. Another next round of capital raise for SpaceX, valued, I think, at $250 billion versus the last round, which is $200 billion. All right. Forgot the math on this, but I think the idea was we need $1 trillion valuation on SpaceX to be fairly valued in the mid-20s. I think that was the math. All right. So the stock's still fundamentally a little bit ahead of itself here. Now, maybe someone can check that math and double check that. But I think that was the math. You need $1 trillion valuation to be in the mid-20s. All right. But this thing's never going to trade exactly at its fair value. Maybe sometimes it will, but it's not going to last because there's a premium sentiment. They also have shares. I just got a text from someone, get a hell of a bounce out of Rocket. And they also have shares in OpenAI, so I don't think you're going to get this at quote unquote fair value. You always got to pay up a little bit, especially after, what's been happening in Trump president now. So as I said, I like it in the low to mid 20s as kind of like a fundamental number. The technicals here would be beautiful. Like if somehow it went to 18 to bottom of the scap 20, I'm not sure that you might never see that again, 18 to 20. If you do, I think all over that. But no, I'm not ready today, even though they had a little bit of news there. Maybe because they had that little bit of news, 200 to 250 billion might not be enough to spark a rally here in DXYZ. Wow. There's probably more comments, but what are these? I got to read these. Option put selling will be most efficient way to generate cash flow in a volatile environment. Great idea, Ben. Thank you, Vince, for that. I can't wait for that. Look at Yosef likes this too. I think I'll take all my big gains from options and put into the wheel strategy If not, I'll probably end up losing a lot of preserve profits and keep making. And 100%. Beautiful. Love the feedback here. This has been great. Our largest audience ever, 2,000 people. All right. It looks like, Rhett, you have a special for them down here?
Yeah, I do. I do have a special. So they can use code Friday, going to storytrading.com/Discord for $19.99 for the first month. And I mean, you can't beat it for that price.
Awesome. And today I am going to open right now. I'm going to open the live stream in our Discord because I want to collaborate with everyone on trading RCAT today. That's going to be hopefully something fun and profitable for us. That's going to be our main focus. Probably maybe even our only focus of the day is going to be RCAT. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bam. We just hit exactly 2,000 people right now. Awesome to have
a good one.
Take care. Bye.